Canadian cities faced disruptions on Saturday as protest against vaccine mandates spread from the capital of Ottawa to Quebec City to Toronto. The so-called Freedom Convoy began as a movement against a vaccine requirement for cross-border truckers, but has turned into a protest against public health measures and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. Demonstrators have shut down downtown Ottawa for the past 8 days, with some participants waving Confederate or Nazi flags and some saying they wanted to dissolve Canada's government. While there are many peaceful protesters, some residents have complained of near-incessant honking, smashed windows, and being harassed for wearing masks. Counter-protesters in Ottawa came out to express their annoyance Saturday with signs reading, "Go home, please," and "Occupiers, go home." Ottawa police on Friday warned of a crackdown on what they called an increasingly dangerous protest and dedicated 150 officers to patrolling and addressing unlawful and threatening conduct in the most impacted neighborhoods. On Saturday, the trucks were out in force in Quebec City. One trucker said he wants to go back to the way life used to be.
We want our province back, our country back. We will protest until we get there.
In Toronto, vaccine mandate protesters and counter-protesters, including healthcare workers, held dueling rallies.
I am proud to be a doctor.
Canadian police say the well-organized blockade has relied partly on funding from sympathizers in the U.S. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has spoken out in support of the truckers. On Saturday, some U.S. Republicans, like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, vowed to investigate GoFundMe's decision to take down a page accepting donations in support of the truck drivers, saying it violated its terms of service. On Friday, GoFundMe said donors would have 2 weeks to request a refund, with any remaining money distributed to, quote, credible and established charities. A day later, the crowdfunding platform said it would refund all donations. The first U.S. troops reinforcing NATO allies in Eastern Europe arrived at a military base in Rzeszów, Poland on Saturday amid a Russian military buildup on Ukraine's border. A small plane carrying what a Polish military source said were U.S. chain of command personnel touched down Saturday morning as preparations continued at the base near Poland's border with Ukraine. Their arrival comes after U.S. President Joe Biden on Wednesday ordered nearly 3,000 extra troops to Poland and Romania to shield Eastern Europe from a potential spillover from the Ukraine crisis. Locals in Rzeszów had mixed feelings about the deployment of U.S. troops. This man said it was a good move.
I believe there is still not enough troops, and we should strive to gather more. We should also show Putin that NATO is strong and cannot be provoked.
Another resident told Reuters, "You have to fight for peace without war." On Saturday, 2 Russian long-range strategic bombers took part in joint military exercises with their Belarusian Air Force's counterparts, officials said. Russia has denied plans to invade Ukraine, but has deployed more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine's borders, and says it could take unspecified military measures if its demands are not met, including a promise by NATO never to admit Kyiv.
My apologies and much love. My sincere, deepest apologies and much love.
Joe Rogan was back on the defensive Saturday, this time apologizing for using racial slurs after a montage video surfaced showing him repeatedly saying the N-word. It was the second public apology this week for the popular podcaster, who said in an Instagram video Saturday it was the most regretful and shameful thing I've ever had to talk about publicly.
I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing.
Rogan's apology came after Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter India Ari pulled her music from the Spotify streaming service, which hosts Rogan's podcast, after posting clips on her Instagram feed of him using the N-word. Rogan said the footage had been taken out of context, but admitted it didn't look great.
And it looks horrible, even to me. But it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist because I'm not racist, but whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you f***ed up. And I clearly have f***ed up.
Media reports on Saturday said more than 70 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience had been removed from Spotify. Spotify did not return a request for comment.
I am going to do my best.
On Monday, Rogan had apologized amid a backlash against COVID-19 misinformation in his program, and Spotify said it would add a content advisory to any episode with discussion of the virus. The coronavirus pandemic reached a grim new milestone in the United States, with the death toll surpassing 900,000, according to data collected by Reuters. While the daily number of lives lost has begun to level off, the latest tally as of Friday marks a staggering increase of more than 100,000 U.S. COVID-19 fatalities since December 12th. That coincides with a surge of infections and hospitalizations driven by the highly contagious Omicron variant. Preliminary evidence has shown that Omicron generally causes less severe illness than previous strains, but the sheer volume of Omicron cases fueled a surge in hospitalizations that has strained many U.S. healthcare systems to their limits in recent weeks. Experts have said the bulk of Omicron patients requiring hospitalization were unvaccinated individuals and people with underlying chronic health conditions. Data also suggests that Omicron may have hit the United States harder than other countries with younger overall populations, such as in Africa. The latest tally in the U.S. stands as the highest number of COVID-19 deaths reported by any nation, followed by Russia, Brazil, and India.
Right, you, if you will, Mum, to cut the first slice. I did remark that it was upside down and you wouldn't be able to see what was on it. I thought it had to be upside down for the press.
As they can see. I don't matter. Yeah. Well, I think I can probably read it upside down,
I
too.
think you probably can. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee.
Yes. That's very nice.
There is a knife. I don't know whether you would like to just do a little bit.
I think I might just put a knife in
I
it.
think that's a really good idea.
See if it works. Oh, yes, it goes in beautifully.
Beautifully.
Somebody else can
Finish it off.
do the rest of it.
Well done.
Nice
We will
and-
leave you some. There's quite a lot.
Yes, it is.